Thanks for coming, mate, and thank you very much. Can you tell people what you're about and what you do and stuff?
Yeah, I'm just a normal local lad, really, to Teesside, and I own a company called Close Protection Security. So we do all aspects of security in the area, really. Got a lot of good lads and females as well working for us, and built my own little army, really, to be honest.
Right. Can I just go back to when you were a kid? What was it? Where did you live?
I lived in Crookspan in Norton.
Right.
Had a really good, really, to be fair. Dad really worked hard.
Right.
And I think that gave me my work ethic. Seeing how hard my dad worked for us as a family.
Like a role model,
I've said it before, I'll say it again, he's my hero, my old man.
Fantastic.
Basically, he grafted hard, and we got everything, really, as kids. We weren't spoiled, but we got a nice house, holidays, nice shoes on our feet, you know, so.
Yeah, what was it like, the area you lived in? Was it
nice, very family oriented. My kids now go to the school I went to as a kid, and it's funny because like in the playground, like
you go back,
I go back, and all my mates are there, you know, with their kids. Yeah, and we were in that playground as kids, now they're all there, you know.
And the grandkids will go there.
It's good.
It's good. And you go back to think, oh, I got told off.
So obviously this gone, we've done like a big like selection box appeal, where one of my staff members got dressed up as Santa, and we went around due to the current COVID like pandemic. Of course, the kids couldn't go to like the Castlegate Centre and see Santa, so it done my head in, obviously having kids myself. Yeah. So I thought, what can we do? So one of my security ops, Andy Bradshaw, said he was going to go out to Ragworth, where he lives, and give like 30 or 40 kids these selection boxes. Anyway, it went mental, right? So I said to Andy, look, let's do it together, and we can do more than 30 to 40 kids. He ended up doing 2,000. 2,000 kids, and it was amazing. We went to the houses, we give them it. Obviously, everything was COVID secure, but it was absolutely amazing. Very tea-jerking at times.
But you have that solace though when you go to bed and I think I've done something good in my life.
It was good. It was good. But it wasn't for me. It wasn't for my recognition. It wasn't for Andy or his. It was for the children.
But I know you like that, because I know quite a few of your lads will work for you. The guy comes round and next year we're all right, and whenever down we're out, he comes round making us sandwiches.
Christmas dinner.
Went on Christmas dinner. But going back to that bit, saying about the teachers, right? Yeah. So we had my deputy head at my primary school was a lady called Mrs. Broom. Right. And she hated me. Like, she was like, she was a lovely woman, obviously, but when you're a kid, you get that one teacher who's like, everyone's scared of. Anyway, she does a food bank now in Norton, and she contacted and said, can we get like selection boxes? So I'll give her 100. Yeah. So she give out 100 in the Norton area for their food bank as well. So obviously it does come around, like you end up working with the teachers.
Not as bad as you really
She's lovely. I walked in, right, and she was like, one of the teachers was like, did she used to teach you? I was like, yeah, she did. Yeah, I was like, quick, get out. It was, it was mad.
What was it like?
Michelle Duffy's just said it's lovely what you've done, Glenn.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Phil. Yeah, so what was it like being a kid? What were you in any sports or anything at school? Were you liked at school and stuff?
I used to play a lot of football. Played. I've done a lot of cross-country championship running. I was always very fit as a kid. Right. I was known for me having my sick back. I was all right, to be fair. It was good. But when I started getting a bit older and realised what drink was and stuff like that, you lose that in Parmos, don't you? Right, got the nickname Parmo, actually, off a couple of my mates. I love a Parmo. But I was like, well, it's chicken and it's cheese and it's good for fats, isn't it? It's not really every night. No. But so
what was it like when you were left school? Did you have a job to go to or anything, or did you have to just...
I tried to get in the army, mate. Right. I basically tried to get in the army, and I was fit, and I remember running. Yeah. I lived at Elmtree, and like in my teen years, next to my school, I went to Ian Ramsey in my teen years, and I remember my dad. He said to me, "Come on, son, we're going training." So he was in the car, and I was running from Red Marshall to Fairfield. It was 1.5 miles. Yeah. And in the army, you've got to do 1.5 miles in 15 minutes to pass the test. I'd done it in 7.5. Yeah. And they said, look, like, they'll love you if you're fit. Yeah. They'll love you. And I was absolutely smashing it. And then I got a letter signed up, obviously, for the army. I got a letter. It was a brown envelope. I had to go to the Middlesbrough career office with my dad, and obviously it was bad news saying I couldn't go in because of ankle ligament damage in football. So it stopped me. So I was a bit gutted, to be fair. But I
remember that army place. It's still there now. It was there, and I parked a car. It was an old just kind of Irish plate on. You come out, and can you move that? Thought,
yeah. It was near the Crown, wasn't it?
There was one near a telly shop. Sort of, I think it was like, I can't remember what it was called, one of the Middlesbrough television shops. But it was near the end of the courts and that.
Yeah.
So what did you get? What did you do after that then?
So obviously, I thought, well, what can I do?
What army were you going to win? Which one?
I wanted to do logistics because my dad is still now he's a lorry driver. He's been a lorry driver all my life, but he actually went out to Canada. My dad, he was doing ice road trucking.
Someone's just said, "Are you from Canada?"
Yeah.
My dad.
He lived.
Hey guys from Canada.
Yeah, right. He lived in Red Deer, Salvin Lake. He also went to Lethbridge, Alberta. I went out there and seen it. It was unbelievable. Like what? Like the view, Rocky Mountains. Went from there.
I watched all of that Alaskan stuff myself.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it though.
I watch ice road trucking with my old man sometimes, and he's just like, "That's not how it is. It's what it's like, you know." But now it's good.
Yeah. So did you get what type of job did you go for after that then?
I ended up doing an apprenticeship in carpet fitting.
Oh, right.
Not many people know that. So I did graft because I get a lot of sticks.
So you can lay carpet then? Or not?
Yeah. I can do underlay.
We need a carpet next month, don't we?
He's
going that low.
I done carpet fitting, and I enjoyed that. It was good. I've done a few years, but then literally just stopped doing that. And then I ended up working in my mum and dad's business at the time. They had a company called Home James Executive, which was like a chauffeuring company. Right. So my dad actually got the company. We done like Duncan Bannatyne, because Duncan's local. I remember, I'm still good friends with his family and with his daughters, and that they're all in like similar age group to me.
So there's a gym around the corner, isn't he?
Duncan's Ingleby, so I was working alongside Duncan at a very young age, 18-year-old, and I was driving him and stuff. And that was a bit.
You think a bit of his stuff rub off on you, but to get where you are now a bit.
Do you know what I mean? Like people like
when you hang around with people like Rocky says, if you hang around with druggies, you can drug. You hang around with football from football, that technology. So he's like entrepreneur, but one of the best.
Really, absolutely buckled. To be honest,
let's multi-billionaire.
But with people like Duncan. At such a young age, I used to like look at him and think like people would think that he was like they treat him differently. Now I don't treat anybody differently. No. I treat people as they treat me with respect. You treat me with respect, you get respect back, and vice versa. And that's how everyone should work. Yeah, of course. And that way in life, you get
better, don't you?
Yeah, you do definitely. And
another thing you don't do is. The people who help you on the way up, call the ones that are down. When you you're down here and then help you to the top, you don't start calling the ones at the bottom because you've got better stuff to do.
We've done as well though, and a few like high profile clients that I've looked after who I ask them questions, and I'm like, what like, how did you start? What do you do? Yeah. The best one was this kid called Dwayne Roberts from America. He owns SK Foods in Middlesbrough. Yeah. He flew over in his private jet, come over. It's unbelievable. Like, flew in the Teesside. I picked him up on the tarmac. Come down. He said, "Excuse me, Glenn." He said, "What's the weather going to be like?" I said, "I think it's forecast a bit of rain for the next week." And he was like, "Okay." He went just like that. Pilot come down. Fly back to London. He said, "And get my rain Mac."
Yeah.
I swear to God, like unbelievable. And I was like, wow, like it's costing him a fortune to go back to London and get his Mac, but that's the level that he's at. Yeah. So when we obviously he was with him a few days, and I said, "How did you start?" And he was 19-year-old, and he said it was very humble, really. What he said, "Look," he said, I was working in my family's butchers, doing meat and stuff, and he said, and we started doing beef patties, and we supplied to a company called McDonald's. You know, like that I'd even know McDonald's were. You know, we just supplied to a company called McDonald's, and I was just like that. Wow, like unbelievable. Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
Probably the biggest company in the world, isn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, that man now, his daughter is on that Orange Bounty Housewives or whatever, you know, like in Orange County Housewives. Yeah. His son's a baseball player. His son was dating Paris Hilton. Yeah. And it's like, it's this next level. It's mental. Yeah. But you know what it is? They're all people.
Yeah, of course.
So ultimately, that's what it is. Yeah, there's people.
It's like when I've been places, there's been like celebrities I've seen them. I'm going, and you're a bit starstruck. I'm like, it's such and such, and they're the same with you because of what you've done.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, oh, did you really do this? And did you really do that? And
Yeah, yeah.
Should be me asking you the question. It's weird because that's what happens. I said, yeah, but what you've done is real. We were acting like that. So So when did you go from there then?
So where did we go from? I went into the home gyms. So my dad ended up getting a fantastic contract with the FA, which is a football association. Yeah. And he was McLaren's personal driver, because Steve's obviously local to us here. Yeah. So he went with him, and he was getting stupid.
What was he like, Steve McLaren?
He was all right, mate. He was all right.
Was he an England manager? No.
England manager, yeah. Well, he was at Middlesbrough first, wasn't he? Yeah. And then
that's why he left Middlesbrough to go there.
He left there to get the England job. Yeah. He was all right, mate. Lovely family, to be fair. Obviously, we worked alongside Catherine and his kids and that quite closely, and they're lovely. Still see Steve every now and then up at Rockcliffe, mainly on the golf course, but he's got a good job now. He just started back at Derby, director of football, so he's back in the game as well now.
Yeah, he was there, wasn't he? There. Brian Clough, he did that.
Yeah.
Massive money there.
Yeah. So I was working for my dad. My dad done that, and unfortunately, due to my dad having time away all the time with Steve, because when you start looking after a client, you live their life, and you don't actually live your own. So it's a single man's job. So my mum and dad got divorced.
What was it like being like a butler type of thing?
It was like protection. Really, he was employed as his driver, but then in the end, it became like his security and everything like that. Yeah, all like personal security driver, really. Yeah. But unfortunately, that caused a divorce from my mum and dad after 20 years of marriage.
Did that hit you then?
Do you know what, mate? Like, it was only a couple of weeks ago. I got one of the lads, Alan Geddes from Middlesbrough Football Club Foundation, come in, and he was sat in my office and he was talking to me, and he was like, look, I can't believe what you've got here. Like, it's really unbelievable. He said, I remember you with one car. He said, now you've got like our HQ. I've got my own gym and everything in there. It's ridiculous.
Waiting for my picture to go on the wall, by the way.
I told you myself, in. So he's
got all these pictures just to let you know the analogy I'm talking about. Well, he's got Eddie Elwood, the best body we've ever had, and he's got all these other people up. I said, where am I at? He said, I'll get you on there.
So Alan said to me, he was like, how have you achieved this? Like, what have you done? How did it start? Inspired by being here with you and seeing what you've done. And I didn't actually think at that time how it started. Right. So I sat and I thought, and it come back, and I thought, you know what? How it started was when my mum and dad got divorced. Yeah. I was 19. 19-year-old, you're a man just starting your life, really. They got divorced. My mum moved in with a boyfriend. My dad went to Canada. House got repossessed, and I was homeless. Right. And that's how it started. Now, I could have went down two routes there. I could have went down the route of drink, drugs, violence, all that stuff, like distant, and I'm going to say normal people do these days, because there's a lot of people out there who go drinking every weekend and go out and do the drugs. Or I could have went down the route of getting my head down and graft. But I didn't have a purpose. So I was living on my mate's bedroom floor. Kevin Smith. And I've actually rewarded his dad. He was actually a footballer, Kev. I've rewarded his dad with a contract for me. Now he gets 70 grand a year on a cleaning contract that I've got. So that's like me repaying him for what he'd done for me, because he took me in, you see. Really good. But basically what happened was, obviously, you're 18-year-old, you're down at town, you're 19-year-old, you're out with the lads. And
sometimes you can follow suit and get the wrong
people, can't you? Yeah, and I ended up punching the lad in the town, and I'm not a bully at all, and he was actually the bullying one of my mates. Yeah. And I don't like bullies. I'm a bit like you, Brian. Can't stand it, and I'll still stand my ground today with any bully. I can't stand it. Yeah. And basically there was this kid spat on my mate. And
so what the worst thing you can do, isn't it?
Yeah, it's disgusting. So I hit him, and it nearly got me 2.5 years in jail.
Somebody spit on me.
Yeah, it nearly got me 2.5 years in jail. And when I was stood in the courtroom, that's when I realised that my life's not in my hands. Yeah. It's not in my hands here. Yeah. I do over that judge last night, got his leg over, so he's happy. Really, my life wasn't in my hands then, and I thought, I need to change my life. Yeah. And I ended up getting a girl pregnant, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
Unfortunately, I wasn't with the girl at the time. It was a one-night stand, but it changed my life because I knew my little girl needed me.
Right.
So what good was I going down the path of going in the drugs route and going down the drinking route and going to fighting? I needed
only leads to one place, doesn't it?
It's jail, isn't it, really? So I just thought, right, what do I do here? So I ended up going to NIFCO, and I worked 250 quid a week. NIFCO's a car manufacturing parts, like they make parts.
Right.
So I ended up working on a production line, 250 quid a week, and I knew I needed to do it to make money for my little girl.
Yeah.
But I always knew that I can't say better than that, because obviously it's a job and I appreciate people work.
But you wanted to try and make yourself better.
That it wasn't the path I wanted to be on.
Yeah.
Could have been the dead end job and I could have done it, but I'm the type of person, I'll walk into somewhere and I'll look and I'll go, I want to own this place instead of this working there. And that's the mentality that I've always had in my head. So I worked there, and then Lily was born. She's 10 now.
Right.
And like my kids, mate, they're my life. Everything I do is for them.
Really. So, isn't it?
He might have said, fair play to you, good story.
Yeah, brilliant. It just shows you how you guys out there. You don't have to go that way, crime. You can do what he's done.
Yeah.
You've done fantastic. And I hear so many stories about you. Obviously, our friend, what I mentioned, Big Brian Flaherty. How big was he in your life? Absolutely. Well, I met Brian when I was 22, just to let you know. Bigger than life character. Absolutely brilliant man. Can have a fight. But he's one of them characters, like, you can be the best fighter in the world, but unless you've got the pattern and the say quiet to say to people, can you leave and do it nicely? You've got that as well. You know, it's not all about fighting, is it? Underdogs. It's about you've got to be with the team. You've all got to be together. Yeah. But Brian was one of them people who could take talk to 100 people and get them all out. They'll throw a punch. He was brilliant, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was fantastic, wasn't he? He was Brian. In my life, obviously people who are close to me now, they know how close Brian was to me. Obviously, I've got a tattoo. He used to say to me, "Heart of a lion, son. That's what you've got." I've got a tattoo on my lion on my leg with Heart of a Lion and Big Bry's name. I bought a dog. The dog is the mascot of my work, called Bry. It's Bry's son come in the other day, Dominic, little Dom, and he was given some selection boxes actually. And the dog come in and wouldn't leave his side.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Do you know you used to went to the grave the other day?
Yeah.
When you was at the grave, all of a sudden a friend suggestion came through on my Facebook of one of Flaherty's sons.
From America.
Yeah.
A friend's request while we were at the grave. I forgot to tell you.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's spooky.
But no, Big Bry, what happened was, obviously, he was a mate of my dad's as well. And my dad had got to Canada, like I mentioned there. They got divorced, went to Canada. And that was me at my lowest point in my life. And basically, my dad said to Brian, look after him. So, and he took it serious. Now, if you say, oh, look after him, I will do. And he's like, oh, it's not my problem, do you know what I mean? He took it serious. And he used to ring me every day, you all right, son? Do you need anything? I remember me and Brian used to literally count our like 20 pences and that. To put £3 in our car. I had a Citroen Saxo VTR. I bought it for 300 quid. It was one of the best cars I've ever had because I owned it, do you know what I mean? And I went from riding my bike to NIFCO to jumping in my Saxo. It was class. And we had like £3 and we'd chuck it in the car and literally we had nothing. And we'd drive around looking for jobs, he'd say.
But sometimes they were the best times when you have
memories,
nothing.
Mate,
I mean, I remember being a kid and used to be able to take the bottles back to the shop and you get 2 pence and get enough to get some lard to make some chips and things like that. It's not always about money, is it?
It's not about money.
The thing is, I remember The Rock. The Rock.
Johnson,
he's from Hawaii, I think he's from, and he was on there and he was struggling. Racial problems against him and everything. And he always sits back and thinks, I remember living with nothing. He lived sitting on the floor. And even though he's worth 50 million, 100 million, he always remembers them times to keep him right. And that's what keeps him being what he is.
There's a lot of people like that, you know. I mean, I remember being with David Gold, who's now the West Ham chairman. David Gold owns Ann Summers, his daughter and him put the money in on that. But obviously he's Premier League chairman now, and I got him from his jet and took him into the stadium. And I asked him, I said, again, like I said earlier, I always ask them how they've done it because I'm intrigued because I wanted the best for my family as well. So I said, how did you do it, David? And he was talking about being humble. And he said, when I walks down his stairs on the morning, he said, the first thing he sees is a picture of his tin bath when he was a kid. And he used to go outside in the tin bath in the garden and fill it with boiling water. And he said, that keeps me grounded. And I'm like, do you know what? I love it.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that for me. And he still does that to this day.
We lived on the A19 when I was a kid. It was a little cottage. And we had a tin bath. You'd have to fill it. My mum used to have a wash in it. We had to do it by hand. You had to do that and manipulate it. And we had colour gas and candles, and that was like 1970s. So we had no television out. All we had was a radio.
Yeah.
You know, so you remember them things and think you've come a long way. But you feel grateful. Now wake up every day. I feel grateful. You know.
Yeah. I just want to say as well, Pi, you've done fantastic the last couple of years. You've changed your life hugely. I was on obviously your drive here on your wedding day as well.
I know, it was great you being there.
Yeah,
but the thing is about it is, if I can do it, anyone can do it, because I was absolutely in the worst place, the darkest pit that you could ever be in. Brian Croft was a crackhead. I was a crackhead. I'll tell you the truth, I'm not going to tell lies. And the thing is, you get these people pretending they're not on drugs and they are on drugs. Just tell lies, which I don't do that.
You need to find yourself, don't you, first, before anything else happens. I get lads messaging me now, quite a few to be fair, and I'm not going to name no names because I don't want to mention anybody, but like literally I had one kid, right, he's a top lad. He messaged me Sunday morning and he said, I'm in the kitchen, he said, on the sniff, on the drink, and he was like, I'm stood around people who have gotten out. He said, I'm going to go to jail, he said, because I've got no job, can't get a job, can't see my kids. And he was like, Glenn, he said, you inspire me, he said, because I've seen you come from nothing to what you've got now. He said, if you can do it, anyone can do it. So he was like, how have you done it? So I said to him, get yourself home. I said, walk out of that pie, get yourself home, get your head down. I said, tonight, ring me. I said, we'll have a chat. I said, I'll meet you tomorrow. We'll go for a walk. We'll have a coffee. We'll sort something out. I said, and I'll help you. And what you say about training, and I always say it as well, the endorphins that you get after a training session is unbelievable.
Of course it is.
And it makes you feel really good.
It's the three. And you get a mad better high than any drug, and you don't have a hangover.
The endorphins are huge. So I always based him, and I said, look, get yourself out, go for a walk, get them endorphins in, stay away from the drugs, stay away from them people, because that's what you've got to. You've got to separate yourself from them people first. You'll get called boring, or you're not coming out, you're boring and all that. And I'm not bothered. Stay away from that.
But in the end, them people, all they are is leeches. Really,
they want
to suck the blood out of you. And what they do when you don't do it no more, don't bother you. All the people I used to go, I'd buy the drugs and sit with them and take them on with the Thai stuff, and you've gone in and get their own stuff out. So they're just leeches.
Well, Tom, sorry, he said his name there. The lad now has actually got a job. I helped him get the job. And he's got contact back with his child as well.
Oh, brilliant!
And he sent me a picture the other week with his kid, like with his car and all that, absolutely buzzing. The lad's in a really good place, and I'm buzzing for him.
Because you probably saved his life and his family and his kids and everything. It's gone, because once you start them jail, once you go to jail, you can't get a job. You can't get a job. You know what? You could have the IQ like Albert Einstein. Could be 1,000 people there, right? And yet you could have the IQ of more than all them put together, but they'll pick the one who can be trusted because they've been to jail. You know, so you won't get that job. So you've done amazing for the army lads, because a lot of army lads work for you. I've met a few of them, myself, the lads have been injured at work and things. For me, they're the heroes, the people, and a lot of them. We had one living on the street, contacting us from Liverpool, me and my wife, and we got him off the streets and and he was under a bridge, and he was so sad, and he didn't see his daughter, and he had no shoes, and we got him a place and looked after him, and it's good to help people.
So what is it you exactly do now? What do you cover?
Well, my company's called Close Protection Security. We're based on Riverside Park in Middlesbrough.
He looks after Middlesbrough football players and the manager and the ground.
Obviously I've got a lot of contracts for it. We cover all aspects of security.
You've done film work recently, haven't you?
We've done. We worked alongside this company in Manchester called Capricorn. Good friend of mine, Billy and Dalton, who do Coronation Street. They actually do Man City as well. Right. So we're quite like, it's the same company really, because we do Middlesbrough Football Club. We do TV work in the area. But I know him from when I used to be an operative working on the ground in the TV work. So Billy rang us, he said, look, we've got this Netflix documentary called The Witcher. At Barnet Castle at High Force. He said, do you fancy jumping on? Deploy lads. I went, when? He said, tonight. I was like, how many do you need? It was like 12 or whatever. Sound aside. So we got the lads on, done two weeks graft on there for them. We've been doing security driving with Viva as well, been assisting with the lads.
Which is TBCs, isn't it? With Newcastle, isn't it?
Newcastle, yeah. Well, I used to be she's a detective, I used to be an operative on there working for another company when I was working myself. And then basically, I ended up doing the cars and stuff on there with a lad called Rack Farmer, fantastic lad, Rack. Still speaking to him daily now. Great kid. He's a transport captain on there with John Armistead. And because of COVID, the actors can't come down by a train. They can't fly, so obviously vehicles have got to go and get them.
Right.
So I've been sending my security drivers down to pick them up and bring them back as and when requested. So that's good.
Good.
But yeah,
our great friends on there, my great friend, Man Yock, he works for you, doesn't he?
Yock works for me. Yeah, he's at the stadium.
Absolutely brilliant.
He's at the stadium working for us. Yock, he's a good lad.
Really good.
He's a friend of mine.
Singer and all, and guitar player.
He wants to teach us some guitar work. Well, by all means, I'll
he's written 2 songs about me.
He's a good lad, Jock. And do you know what it is as well? Is that I've got a lot of friends who work for me. We call it basically close protection or a family. Band of brothers, the army lads say. I mean, my full management team. I've got 1, 2. I think I've got 4 managers. I've got my operations director, who's under me, is a lad called Sam Gibson, who used to be my boss when I worked for a government party. And he was unbelievable. Ex Royal Marine of 11 years. He's unbelievable. The best manager I've ever been managed by. So I approached him and I said, "Can you come down and work and run my lads?" So he does. He runs my lads, but he lives in Exeter. And I'd fly him there and back. It's class, but he's a good kid. So you got him. You got Davey White from Stockton. He's ex Green Howard, I think he is. You've got Danny Hartop, who's a kid you met.
I met him. Good.
Danny's hero, not Danny's Brian's hero. So he surprised him on a site one night and went to see him.
He was all made up, wasn't he?
He was
the operations manager was there as well, wasn't he?
That was James. James was a good kid. He's no longer with us no more, but he's a friend of mine. He's a good lad. And then I've got Mark O'Neill, Mark's ex-para. He used to be a naughty kid. He showed, honestly, I got his DBS the other day. I was like, oh my God. Obviously, you've got to be like 10 years clear or 5 years clear to be working in security. But when he was younger, he was a bad lad, and the army saved his life. And I got his full thing. I was like, oh my God. But nah.
But people can change, can't they? That's what they
you can,
with Christianity, we obviously believe in Jesus Christ, who saved us. And the thing is, with Jesus, if he can forgive you, other people can forgive you, can't you? People think once you're a bad egg, you're always going to be a bad egg, but not the case, is it?
What's that saying where they say today's news is tomorrow's chip paper?
Yesterday.
Do you know what? Right? It's so real. That is so true. And no matter if you've had a bad day and you've done something wrong, and you get slated from it, tomorrow it's forgotten about because something else has happened.
And the thing is, a good night's sleep, people sit worrying and going, oh, this happens and that happens and this happens. But 97% what you worry about never happens, so it's wasted time worrying about it.
Don't worry about it,
And like the worst thing about fear, I've said this loads of times, is fear itself. You go, if I do that, that's going to happen. If I do this, you can go on forever, and you make yourself really ill through it.
You can,
You've got to just say, stop it, get on with something, do it, go for a walk, take the dog out, go see a friend, phone someone.
The best thing to do if you're struggling with things like that is write it down, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Like if you're training,
if you read it and you see it and think, man, what is that?
Write your list of what you need to do and tick it off.
That's what I say.
That's the best.
You've got 50 jobs, write them all down. Don't think I'm going to do them all in one. Once the lad said to me, where do I start? I said, at the beginning, just start the mess all over his house. I said, pick a cup up, wash it, put it in the sink, a knife and fork, put them in there, and just start and then tick that job off. And the next day do another job, and in the end you'll do. But don't try to do all the jobs in one day, because it'll do you more bad.
Of course.
I think a good thing the army teaches when I was in the army cadets is make your bed as soon as you wake up, because it sounds crazy. Most people who are up there,
it's your first task of the day done, isn't it?
Yeah, make your bed, and it starts you in that process of like a little routine, you know. But it's a good routine.
It comes like an OCD, doesn't it?
It does, but it's a good OCD. It's I have to make my bed before I go down. So I'm telling people to do it, so I'm going to be like them. I pretend like somebody's watching me. We'll get your bed done, well, God's watching me, and do it. It sounds a bit crazy, but it does work. It does. It starts you off, for the day. But I always do this as well before I get out of bed. I'll hear that and think, what can I do today to make this my best day and to help people?
Yeah.
You know, just have a little think before you get up and do something, because you can't live in the past, because that's gone to concept. I can't live for tomorrow. That's a concept that hasn't come. You can only live for today. So you live every day as if it's your last, because one day it will be.
Yeah, of course it will. Yeah, it's one of them things, isn't it? There's a one act of kindness a day. If you do that, and you don't have to do it and video it and put it on Facebook. You just do it for yourself. You know. I done it. It must have been about 6 months ago, and I was stood in Norton High Street. I was getting a bacon sandwich on the morning, and there was some little old lady coming behind me, and I was in a tracksuit, and obviously you've seen my car, big blacked out car, and some people stereotype that as a drug dealer straight away. Young lad, and I got out, I was in a tracksuit, and I'm stood there, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I hope she doesn't think I'm like a hoodie or a druggie, or I'm like, you know, like, because you get stereotyped. So I ordered my food, and then I seen her like counting out her coppers, and I said to the lady, I said, just keep that money, I said, and pay for hers. And she was like, all right, thank you. And then when she done it, she was like, oh, can I have this? And she ordered her food, and the lady said, oh, that gentleman's paid it for you. And she was like, thank you, son, thank you. But you know what? That would have made her day, and because she won't have a lot of people to talk to.
Right, exactly.
But the people she does, she will have went home and said, you know what happened today?
And it also makes them live that longer, because the thing that
there's nice people about, because people.
We were in a shop once, and there was this old lady, and I helped to get a bit of toilet roll off the top shelf. Oh, thank you. And she talked to me about for 10 minutes. I thought she probably got no one in the world to talk to. 10 minutes. I said, how are you doing today? You're looking well, and making them feel good and things like that. But it's nice to be nice, and it's nice to talk to people, isn't it?
There's too many bad people out there now, and it's not good. But Big Bri, obviously, going back on there, it was a huge part of my life. He took that part serious when my dad said to him, look after him. And obviously, telling you the story there about us scraping like £3.20 or whatever to put into the car. When I started working in the film industry, I got Big Bri a job in the film industry as well. And he used to work with us, and there, honestly, it was class. Like, we had so much fun. But all the people in Newcastle, because that's where it was predominantly based, they all love him, and they still love him, because he was up there, and he's obviously, he knew the says and all that, didn't he? So he's like, I know what it says, and he's talking to the lads, and the lads are like, fucking hell, like, it's class, mate. All of them used to ask about Brian all the time, and obviously, Big Bri was really close friends with you.
I loved him, didn't he? Talked about him all the time,
well, he always said, me and Lee, look here, I told you this story, but I'll tell the people back who's listening. Flatty bought a car. It was a bit of a dodgy car. It was called a Ringer. So it wasn't the real car. It was just wrong. So the police coming, right, we've got you caught and banked the right to this car. I said, what are you doing? Because me and Lee used to go around. I was on the run. I broke somebody's jaw, lad from Eston. I was on the run. I was with Lee. We're in this little panda car type of thing, little thing. We went to Brian's a few times. We had a few. He liked a few vodkas, Brian. We'd had a drink with him. Got a bit drunk with him one night. We were in there, and we used to have a good laugh with him. So we popped round and see him. So Lee used to go and see him. So Lee loved him, Lee Duffy. So Brian got pulled by the police, and he said, "Where'd you get the car from?" So he went, "I bought it off Lee Duffy." They went, but Lee passed away 2 weeks before us, and I thought Lee will be up there going nice. So Brian always used to do this.
He
went, Lee Duffy sold me in the wench. They couldn't do nothing because Lee passed away, and I was telling Lee's partner not long ago about it, his ex-partner, and she was laughing at it. I said, yeah, Lee would have loved that.
Is that who was training in them your gym videos?
That's the lad. If you look on that, if you see him on the video with Big Brian, that's he just said, you're wasting your life on that rubbish. No, I was on the road. You could have been the world's as well.
With obviously the type of person that you were, people wouldn't tell you the truth.
No,
because they were frightened that they get a clip, weren't they? Really?
He did tell you.
Brian used to tell you the truth, didn't he? If you like it or you don't, he tells you.
But it was Brian that wanted me to go on the Wild Song. I used to think I'd just been kind, but then when other people were saying I was the strongest had seen, and people don't believe in the size. But some of my training done there, but before that I was even stronger, because when I got to about 32, my strength started going a little bit. But on that video I'm training, I'm nearly 37. I'm still squatting 7.5 lifts each end.
And then you tried to help Brian, didn't you? But you said he kept getting Chinese.
Oh he loved his phone. I used to go, so I pop up and see him every week. I used to go up and see him, give him a couple of quid and that. I'd go on, when he had a bit of trouble on his eye, I went down and sorted out for him, because I worked with him when I was 22 at Darlington, and we used to have good laughs. He was funny. Harvey's wine bar, the stories I had in there, and we had good fun with Brian, but it was never ever miserable. I never can remember him being down. Something would happen to him, and he just all right. And he loved Star Trek and his toys, didn't he?
Yeah, his toys.
He's just a fantastic person, but I sadly missed him.
One story there is one of my very close friends, Lee Walker, who worked with Brian on the door as well, and in the film industry with him. Lee's a really good kid. He found Brian dead with me. So it affected me massively, but it affected him. And I didn't ever go like to my wife, and because I didn't want to take my like sadness home. Because I thought that was wrong around my children, you know. I didn't want them to see dad upset and crying. So I used to just ring Lee and just sit on the phone and cry to him. And Lee's a bodybuilder, like very hard kid in Billingham, you know. And me and him, we used to just sit there upset, talking and whatever. But he always told me a story about Brian mentioning you, right? So they were working in the Smith's Arms in Billingham. And grabbed over this kid, kicked him out. And then his mum and dad come over. I think she was called Avril or something. And she was just like this, the regulars. She's like this, giving it to Brian. And she was like, "You're going to get it, Brian," and all this. You're out of order, kicking my son out. Anyway, they let him in the back door. So this kid had come back in the back door, and Brian was like, "I've just kicked you out," grabbed him again, chucked him out. Next minute, he's come back in again. So he was like, "Right, they're taking the piss now, son." He said, "That's it." He said, "You two," grabbed him out. And he told Avril and her husband, he said, "You two, tomorrow morning, you're getting your doors kicked in. Big Brian's coming round for you." And he said they were going with him. And Lee's like, "You can't threaten him, Brian. The 70-year-old. He said, "I don't want to want son to take the piss." But so funny. But this one, while we're mentioning Brian as well, I just want to mention Varney, David Vaughan. Varney was obviously a very close friend of Bryce.
Looked after him, didn't he? Especially at the end of the streets down.
And there was only a handful of people, and the man needs the credit, to be fair. Him and Marie, they were always there for Brian. And he's still a very close friend of mine now as well, on the phone all the time, asking questions, "How are you doing, son?" And he's like, sort of trying to take over the role of Brian, you know. Because he used to call us both sons Brian.
Well, there's a funny story there. There was little Brian, his son. There was me. There was big Brian, and there was a lot of works in the windows called Brian. All of us were called Brian, 4 of us. And my mum went, "Brian, Bill, what?" It was crazy. There was 4 of us in the car called Brian. That was really hard to work. So we called him Big. That was Big Brian. He was Big Brian. Little Brian. So we had to have these bad names. But it was mental. It was funny.
So, but I think Brian taught me a lot in life of real like what can you say?
He was a gentleman, wasn't he?
He was a gentleman, and he was the last of the old school. And he taught me a lot of values in life where
you just said, give politeness, you get politeness.
100%,
give respect, it doesn't cost nothing.
I mean, Brian passed away and he was on the front of the Gazette, wasn't he? He worked Barracuda Door. He was the face of the Middlesbrough club scene.
Our friend John Pickard was underneath.
John Pickard.
On the door.
Worked for them. They all liked him, all of that.
Unbelievable, the respect the man got. But it's good. But he put a lot of things in my life, and I do believe. Well, a big thing in me, right, was I know you obviously used to go to church with Christians and spiritualists. That done me big time, right? Now I believe in it hugely. And when I was at my lowest, I was living at Kev's house, and I walked over to the graveyard, and I was sat at my cousin's grave, a little girl called Megan, and I'm sat and I'm going, "Oh, Megs, please help me. Like, give me the guidance, like where I need to go." And I sat there and I cried my eyes out, and I remember I walked out with her and I had 1 pence in my pocket. That's all I had, 1 pence, right? And I walked to my grandma's house in Rosewood, and my grandma took me in, right? And she put me in a little box bedroom. And I lived with my grandma from then. And basically, I went to Norton Spiritualist Church, and I went in with the attitude of, "I'm going to catch you out here." You know, like I'm going to, like you're all loonies, you know what I mean? So I went in, I'm going to catch you out here. And I'm sat there, and this woman come to me. She said, "Can I speak to you?" And I said, "Yeah." And I was thinking, "You're never going to get no out of me here." And she turned around to me and she said to me, "Look," she went, "You were sat in your cousin's grave, weren't you?" And I'm like, "What?" And she went, "You were sat at your cousin's grave." And I said, "Yeah." And she went, "You asked for help, didn't you?" And I said, "Yeah." She went, "Trust me, son." She went, "That help will come, but you've got to make the right choice." She went, "You can go on that path there that you're on." She went, "It's not a good path." She went, "I can see it's evil." She went, "Oh, you can go on that path there." And she went, "And it's good." She went, "I want to go with you on it." She went, "Because it's that good." So I was like, "Right." And she went, "But all you've got to do is make the right choice." And that is what I've kept into my head all the time, of make the right choice. And it's a simple choice, isn't it? I can do that, or I can do that.
No one can make you do nothing. You know, he's make me take coke, he's make me do this.
Yeah.
No one can physically make you put coke up your nose. Or you're doing it yourself. And a lot of people, what they do is when they're on drugs, like I used to, I'd make an excuse. I eat some meat, I'm going to drugs. So you make an excuse to go, people go, she told me I don't want a burger, I'm going to go on the drink. An excuse to get out the house and go on drugs or drinking it. So and sometimes you can play the victim as well, can you? This happened to me as a kid, and that happened to me as a kid, and you've got to just move on, haven't you? Or you'll just be stuck in that same doom and gloom.
She said to me, make the right choice, so I did. I started making the right choice, and that was simple choices of don't go out on a weekend and sit in. Now I love nothing more than sitting in on a weekend, watching the match of the day, kids are asleep around me, you know what I mean? Like, that's my peace, knowing that no one's going to come through my front door. I love it. And you're not going to wake up in the morning. If you go out on a Saturday night, you go out and get pissed up or whatever, anything can happen. You wake up on a Sunday and you've got loads to chew. Like, can't be asked for that. It's after peaceful life.
All day, all
month. Peaceful life, that's what it's all about.
What happened last night? How you got? What makes me laugh? These ones ago. Brilliant night last night, but I can't remember a thing. That'd be a great night.
I love a lot of food, mate. I love going out for a steak and that. So I'd like to go
nice
out.
People that are in
go for a nice meal somewhere and have some food. And then
I think like when we and Brian used to fight in the old days, it was old school. You'd have to you had a problem with someone. You said, right, I'll meet you on the field 6 o'clock. I go to the flat. You took me loads of times. Go on fight with someone, have a fight. Everyone shook hands, forgot about.
Now you get a jeep from your front room window, aren't you? You get a machete.
Bonneted or I've already had it.
Well, that's the day it is now. It's mental. But I remember going to a spiritualist not so long ago. And Peter Crawford, he was called from Hartlepool. So I'm trying to plug in there. So Peter Crawford, and I went in, and he said to me, you go the other side of the room. So I'm sat the other side of the room, and he just sat there looking at me. He went, he's a big bloke, isn't he? I went, what? He went, he said, no, wait there. He's working it. And he went, who's the big bloke behind you? And I said, why? And he said, he's guiding you. He said, hang on. And he'd done a full reading. It was unbelievable. And Brian, only about 3 times ever did he do it, because he's a man's man. He doesn't show no love, only about 3 times he'd done it. Once when he was really poorly, when you took him in the hospital, and I brought him out of the hospital. I took him to his sister's house, and he grabbed hold of me, gave me a kiss on my head, and he said, I love every hair on your head, son. And at the end of this reading, Peter Crawford looked at me, he said, I feel a bit weird here. But why? He said, because he's telling me to say something I don't really want to say it. It sounds a bit gay. I was like, not that gay, it's nothing. Like, do you know what I mean? It sounds a bit gay. And I was like, right, why? And he said, basically, he's telling me that he wants me to kiss you on the top of your head because he loves every hair on your head. And I knew. I was like, wow.
What happened? People know about this. He came here one day and he was driving for me. He was falling asleep at the wheel. I thought there was something wrong with him. And he was coughing. I went, do you know what it is? I won't swear what I said to him. I went, you effing don't get sorted out, fall out. I'm going to speak to you again. So I took him to the hospital. Went to the hospital. Got a phone call. Said, if I never come in here, I wouldn't have come out. I wouldn't have been here tomorrow. He said, and anyway, he was in there about 6 months. And that's how bad he had. He had double pneumonia and everything, all sorts of problems.
Severe heart failure, didn't he?
Heart failure, everything. So he went in there, he said, I owe you my life, big fella. I said, no, you don't have to, because like, obviously, they're out for the van, you know, to help him. But but he was a great lad.
Yeah, he was class. But I believe he's guided me, like, definitely, every day. Got your back, son, And we had basically, at the start of my security company, I had a client, a private client I used to look after, who owned a huge company in the area. And basically, he had a security company already working for him. We're talking like 250 grand contract for the year. And literally, that security company shit themselves when something happened. Now, I'm one of them, like, I'm his mate, but I didn't expect that security contract because he's my friend. I believe you've got to earn it. You've got to earn the contract. You've got to do your job. Now, you get a lot of security people who set up a company and don't do nothing. Now, I'm still a person who will go and sort anything out. If there's an issue, I'll ring someone. Or there's always a solution. And that's what the client wants. So I always say it's like a tin of baked beans. You buy a tin of baked beans from Tesco, you open it up, you don't expect mushy peas, do you? You pay for your service, what you're getting, now, basically, I was getting a tattoo off my brother. My brother owns a tattoo studio in Stockton, and I'm getting a tattoo off him. And I had the security company, but we had no contracts. I'd just started. But this kid was a private client who I was looking after, and he rang me and he said to me, Glenn, what are you doing? He said, I've got 20 caravans on my site, travellers. he said that they've come in. Now, I've got a lot of traveller friends, fantastic community. My family in Doncaster are from the travelling community as well. Great lads. I know, speak to them. You treat them with respect, they treat you with respect, and that's how it works. But ultimately, they have this reputation where people are scared of them. But they're only people. Before I go back to what we say with the celebrities, they're only people. You know,
they had Joe Freeman the other day. Lovely lad. He's cut the raves and that, but they're all
just people.
Seven Travellers,
good lads.
Lewis also died with them. All good kids, you know.
And you treat them with respect, they respect you.
Back, course they do.
So he said to me, my security firm have basically shit themselves. He said, will you try and sort it out? And I was like, yeah. And I went on that site on my own in a vest and a pair of shorts because it was middle of summer. I was getting a tattoo. Now people could look at you in a vest and a pair of shorts as intimidation. He's coming on for a scrap. And I went on. I said, "Who's the top boy?" To kind of chat with you. I said, "I'm Glenn Bartlett." I said, "I own Close Protection Security." I said, "And this is my property." It wasn't. It was the other security's property. I said, "There was a favour, lads." I said, "I know what you've nicked," and I said, "The police are on the way now. Get yourself gone." Right. I rang the client and I said, "Look at your camera. There's 20 caravans pulling out, and they're gone. 20 caravans." That secured my company, because I got that contract straight after, because the people that he was paying for didn't do the job, and ultimately I got the job done, and that's what the client wants, and that's how we built our reputation, because we do the job, and that's what we've got. Like, I mean, I'm 32-year-old. I've got security at Teesside Airport. I mean, who has a security at Teesside International Airport at 32-year-old? Middlesbrough Football Club do everything for them. I even travel with the first team on ad hoc occasions. I do the tunnel on a match day. I'm with the players all the time, doing the private security driving for them. I've got the lads at the training ground, the stadium.
You take me to the wedding.
Took Big Bright to the wedding. Like the port of Middlesbrough. So I've got an airport, a port, a club, the Cleveland Fire Brigade. Like there's massive clients, and other security companies went, "How's he got all them?" But he hasn't got like the little ones, you know. And I want the little ones.
Some of the little ones, though, when you get like the scrap yards and places like that, that's where the hassle comes.
It can
when I had the scrap yards and things like that, but when I put my posters up, I'll tell you a funny story. I put them up over the board, and there was like loads of places I put them up. I was doing really well in it about 15 years ago, and it was like Brian Crocker, and I thought everyone else had red ones, you know. I thought I'll get yellow ones because it's like nuclear waste and danger, you know. I got them type of thing. Brian Crocker owns these protects these properties 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And what happened is all the posters were going. I was thinking, some of the security firms at me, I want to smash the face, I want to bat them. It was the kids pinching them for the walls. All the kids.
25 and someone said, "Don't get rid of them because if you sign them, you can sell them."
So quite mad. But I did another job. I looked after the man. I won't say his name, but he had about 500 houses, so multi-billionaire. I went on these houses where I wouldn't go to houses where there was kids in and things. I went to one that was in all the houses a mess, and they ended up giving the woman a radiator. So I used to have a caravan. There was oil radiators. I got one of them. I give her 50 quid. I'm supposed to evict them, and I give the kids all the boxes of chocolates, roses, them all. I felt terrible because I remember me being poor when we were kids and put me in a situation. Anyway, I packed in, went, and I thought, I'm not going to put people and kids out. And the only thing I know about him, he went, "You first to come," and he said, "Yeah, you were doing jobs." So I was going to places where nobody dared go, like you said. There's like 20 lads in a house. I evicted them, and the police turned up, they walked away because they were sick of it anyway. And you do the job, and the thing is, they say you're not doing that now. Well, wait a minute. If I had to be called out, then wouldn't be a very good security.
That's when you know you've got a good security company. When nothing happens.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's respect.
I said, what do you want? Do you want trouble all the time? So you keep calling me out, or do you want people are paying your rent and it's all getting done?
That's what you get with some clients, like not mine, but I've seen it in the industry before. And you have nothing will happen. They get rid of you, and something happens again. And you're like, well, where the reason why they're not coming? Do you know what I mean? Why would you stop that?
And then they want to pay you your wage, and all the trouble comes back.
But what they don't understand is they're paying you a wage to protect their asset. So they can continue with their business and they can earn the money with no problems at all. But because if they get robbed, they can't sell the product or they can't work the product, and it's
because they haven't got the tools to do it.
And it's a massive headache going through insurance companies, trying to ring call centres and doing it all. It's a nightmare.
And when you've got like places like pubs and shops, you keep phoning the police, you get black marks against you.
Yeah.
So the council's probably out in the shop. People don't realise that as well.
Some people look at it as dead cost, though, don't they?
Yeah.
I tell you what, now the lads who do the robbing and that, they're not bothered. They're unbelievable.
Yeah.
They have like a battery-powered still saw, and they'll just come up and go, and they're in. They cut the fence or cut the. I've seen a shutter the other week. It's nothing to do with me, but my dog's on the side alerted to the sound of the saw, and it was a tenant like over the road. And you know what? I still responded, even though it's got nothing to do with me. I still responded because it's a duty of care, isn't it, really? I done it at Wellington Square as well. I seen this lad running through, smackhead, running through. He had bags of like protein. I thought I'm gonna have some cheap protein here. I seen this.
You can't tell where it is.
So I seen the security guard running after him, like overweight security guard, couldn't do nothing, right? Because security got a really bad name. These fat old men who were going to sleep, really. Obviously, then I incorporated my gym into it, so all my staff train. We've got a free gym membership there. It's unbelievable.
A bit like China, we have to train them all and come back to work.
One of my managers sent me the other day. He said, "You do realise what you've got now, don't you?" I said, "What's that?" He said, "You've got your own army." And I look at it and I think, do you know what? I've got lads who are very, very capable lads. The customer service is fantastic, but they can do the job. And if something happens,
if you can go to war in Iraq and Iran, Afghanistan, places like that, and stand up there, working, want to put something out of the house is easy.
Loveliest of men, though. So anyway, going back to the house, I seen this security guard chasing this kid from Wellington Square, and I thought, I'm not having that. I thought, I own a security company. I can't. If I drove past that, I'd be a fraud, wouldn't I? So I just drove up a little bit more, jumped out of the car, then I just chased him. And all I done was just raise my voice, and he just shit himself and dropped the bags. And I got the bags back, and I just said, "You fucking stay away." So give him a bit of verbals. You can't tickle the tummy. You've got to give.
No, you can't go up to a big load of hoodlums and say,
"How are you doing?
Hello, jolly old boy." If you do it, just laugh.
You've got to give him a bit of like.
You've got to show your teeth like a lion. When the dog growls at each other, see people wearing.
And the thing twice, I'm not going back there. So anyway, I got this protein back. Took it back to Wellington Square, rang their security. He come down, I give him it. I said, "There's my card." I said, "Get your gaffer to give me a ring." I said, "All I wanted was a thank you." Because I've just got his product back, because it would be a big headache for him and a bad strike for him as well off their client. Didn't even get a thank you, mate. So next time, let them crack on. You can have it.
Well, I remember when I used to do the jobs, we used to do quite a few debts and things. I've done lots of debts with top businessmen and people. I always charge them 50%. So if you've got the court, you can't get it. You've gone through the police if you can't get it. Somebody owes you 10 grand, and I say, "But I'll get you 5. Half a loaf of bread is better than no loaf of bread." So you're getting 5 grand with the debt. It's been 10 years old. He said, "All you want is 10." I said, "I'll get it." So every debt I got for this bloke here, a window warehouse, portrait, and I got all these debts in for him. But what happened once I got the debts in? Nobody dared bump him. So I was no good no more. So I've done the job. So sometimes you can do the job so good. And these are the other few things when I used to go with Terry and Flatty companies and other people. They go, "It's not the principle. It's not the money, it's the principle." So I used to say, "Well, you keep the principle and I'll keep the money." It's always the money.
Did you have dogs as well? Did you employ my dog, Bronson's?
Oh, he's brilliant.
He's like an army dog, isn't he?
He's a robot dog, we call it.
We actually put the dogs on Ingleby Barwood Golf Club.
Do you have a trainer for them?
Yeah, I've got a lad called Andy Ardle and Graham Jones who train Cleveland Police dogs.
How would they help boxing?
So they use our airport facility. We've got training up there for them to train, and obviously Cleveland Police going as well. So I've got a good relationship with the dog section of Cleveland Police. Obviously, if I'm responding to an incident, they're responding. You're on the same wavelength, aren't you?
Yeah, of course.
So I've got a good relationship with them. So it's what it is, isn't it?
So what's the future for Glenn Bartlett?
Future for Glenn Bartlett? Happy and healthy, hopefully, mate.
That's the most important thing, isn't it?
It is, Do you know what?
Healthy body, healthy mind. I always say, you've got them in sync, you're perfect. I'd rather have no money at all and be healthy and be keeping off the dark drugs.
When I was younger, I was always like, I want to be a millionaire. I want to do this. I want to do that. And you chase money all your life, to be honest, right? And basically with me, I was chasing the money and I wasn't giving the time to my family, wife and 3 little girls, and ultimately that caused me and my wife to split up because I didn't give her the time. But I was out in my head, I was thinking, I'm going to work here and I'm grafting and I'm giving her the best life that she can have and my kids.
It's not always about,
but then when I was coming home, I wasn't getting like a cuddle a kiss and not like, you know, nothing like that. And so I'm thinking, well, I'm giving you everything and I'm getting nothing back. But then she was like, well, I'm doing everything with the kids and keeping this house and doing everything, and I never see you. You know, so like we split up, and we split up for a year. Basically, obviously we've just moved into our new house and everything now, and we're reaping the rewards now, and we're back together. You know, and
it's in the film Godfather, he says, any man who doesn't look after his family can stay with family.
Bum. Bum. If you don't look after your kids or your family, you're an absolute bum. But basically, we've obviously we split up and all that, and I've had really bad issues with my back as well. I've had 4 operations in about 3 years. My last one, it like really messed up, so I had to have another emergency operation after that as well. It was brutal. I got a sacral tear, so it leaked fluid onto my spinal cord. I was like paralyzed for like a day. It was awful. It's horrible.
Well, thanks for telling me all this. I'm going in for an operation on my back in a couple of weeks. You're telling me all this. Thanks. I'll have brilliant sleep tonight.
You've got to get it done.
So
obviously I had my back issues, and then I had a brain aneurysm, and that nearly killed me. And ultimately, when you have something like that, that's when it hits home.
You know how close you are to death. It's like when they got me in that house and they killed me. You realise. You think you're invincible. Lee Duffy was the same. You think you're invincible, but you're not. You're just flesh and blood like everyone else. And, you know, everyone cries, everyone has feelings, and you're just flesh and blood. You're not invincible.
I remember being sat in the back of the ambulance, right, and there was I was sat in the chair and I was just looking at, straight forward, and the paramedic was sat facing me, and I was looking at him. And I couldn't talk, and he was looking at me. He was like, "You all right?" And I'm like, and I couldn't get my words out, but my brain knew that I wanted to talk, but I couldn't get it out. And I was like stuttering, because it was like a side effect of it. And I was like, and I just thought, wow, this is it here, I'm done. And I remember this tears was coming down my face. And I mean, I've always trained and been quite a big lad. I'm like 16, 17 stone. I always sit about that. And this bloke was sat there, a big bald bloke, and he's looking at me. And it was a moment where it doesn't matter how hard you are or how like tough you or manly you are. It was a human moment where we're like, fucking hell, that kid's fucked. You know, he can't. It was horrible, and he couldn't even look at me because he seen me upset, crying. It was horrible, man. But then I was laid in the hospital. I went to James Cook to the brain ward. I had an operation in my groin, went straight up to my brain. It was unbelievable. It was mental. They're fantastic over there, by the way. Unbelievable.
Well, I've got the same doctor as you, I think.
For the back surgery. Dr. Bath.
Is it in your operation?
No, it was a student. It was a student. So
that's what I said. I'll make sure when I see him, you're doing my back.
You've got to tell him you do it, because it's a university hospital. So the student had done it and cut my back.
I'll make sure there's no one under 50 there.
No, you've got to say you do it.
If anyone comes in there, you'll not get out.
Well,
that's what I said to the anaesthesiologist when I had when I went on the old jumping form, my leg was hanging off. They stabbed me up and everything. I said, "You're the only man ever knocked me out." Well, that's when I was laid in the bed, and I remember my mum come in, and she said to me, she went, "Glenn, have you got life insurance?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Have you got enough money in your bank for your wife and your kids if you die?" And she was crying her eyes out, because the doctor had told her that I should have been dead. And that one has hit me, and I was like, wow. And I thought to myself, do you know what? My little 5-year-old girl doesn't care if a Rolex on his hand, doesn't care if he's got a Range Rover, doesn't care about anything. All she cares about is him being daft dad, do you know what I mean? And that's when when I realised, and I was like, it's not about money. That's it. You can have £1 billion that can make you happy. Look at these actors who hang themselves. It's got to be balance in it. It's a little bit of everything. It's the balance, but some people are sat and they're multi-millionaires in the West.
It doesn't make you happy.
It doesn't make you happy, does it?
No, it doesn't make you happy.
No, it doesn't.
A lot of people
can help you. Don't get me wrong, can help you with great things. But the thing is,
it just makes things easier, doesn't it?
Of course it does. But if you're doing good things for people as well, that helps you a lot more.
I get more satisfaction about helping people
and taking.
And I mean, a lot of my staff, if not all of my staff, would tell you. I mean, Christmas Eve, I bought them all gifts. Every single staff member got 2 gifts. I went out on Christmas Eve.
These were all the pound shop, by the way.
They were. I went out Christmas Eve. All the lads and lasses who were working, give them all a selection box. On Christmas Day, I give them all a selection box and a Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't ever want anybody to miss out, you know.
Yeah, of course.
On a Christmas dinner,
Yeah.
obviously class dinner, you know. So I went out and give my time up to go and do that. And I'm always there on the end of the phone if they need me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a chain of command. Obviously, the directors, the managers, and then obviously come to me if it's serious. But they know my door's always open, and a lot of them do come and speak to me, and they've got the respect, you know.
Of course, yeah.
We loved our Chinese you got us as well.
Oh yeah, they bought me a Chinese as well after the wedding. That was good.
And even coming to see us the other day about the Bartlett.
Yeah.
Bartlett new light.
New light for us to be look like movie stars.
Well, no, it's so they look at me, which is it's big now anyway. It's good. It's sailing.
Just keep building, can you?
You've got to building.
Like some people say, how do I start training? I said, don't try. You can't get like Eddie Elwood overnight. You can't get like Brian Cockroach strength overnight.
Yeah.
You've got to start at the bottom of the ladder and just one rung at a time. Yeah. Like people say, how do I get fit? I've been doing little bits with training bands in the house. It's just to help people. One lad said, well, I can do 25 reps. Yeah, but you're 25-year-old. You're ex-army lad. These are people I'm talking about who've been in the set eating all the time and struggling to help with the hands and things like that. So we've been doing that. It's been doing well. And we're in the paper last week with the book.
Yeah, I've seen that. We've done.
It's just started coming on. We've got a Billy Moore coming on Wednesday. Was it a prayer?
A prayer before dawn.
A prayer before dawn, which the lad was in jail in was it Bangkok, I think, Thailand, and he had to fight against. Well, amazing. So we've got him on Wednesday. So you have to be watching that with us.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I know a quick one there with obviously walking into a gym. Obviously, I've done little things all my life from like sport, football to obviously the running to going into a gym and all that. Yeah, used to train at Moors with Paul Epstein.
Oh, Paul, good lad,
Blue Haired Nanas and all that.
Yeah. When he came in one day, I was benching once and he was there. He'll tell you. And he said, no, I've got to watch this. I had 620s each end. And I was benching the 6th plate. He's lying, never done that. But all these people have seen it. And Kev Kilty was there when I did a 2,000 pound leg press. I got 11, 12, 13. That was something ridiculous. And when I was in home house, when I'd been on the crack and everything, when I got to jail, I had a fight with the big arm that I do know. It's nearly 7 foot. Monstrous, funny. Oh, how could he be 26 on? Well, he was. He's about 25, 24. Ridiculous. And people, how can he be that big? Well, he wasn't that big when he was in the army. He was the height, but he wasn't.
Snoop Dogg's bodyguard, isn't he?
Yeah. Top. Anyway, destroyed him in a fight, by the way.
Lee Walker lives at Billingham.
And
that's where the fight was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Lee said to me, he walked past, he remembers being a kid walking past, and he's seen the house, and he was like, fucking hell. Because you keep the door in, didn't you?
Yeah.
And literally, he said to me, the door come off, but all the bricks around it come off as well. And he was like, it was because they grabbed your mate in, didn't they?
Yeah, they grabbed your mate. They tried to kill him, stabbed him up.
So Brian went in.
Them with 6 of them with knives and bars and chains. I still went in the house and he tried to get out the door. This big lad, 6'10". I'm like 6'3" and monstrous. And I caught him the try and he went down and the police coming and everything. But I got locked up, went to jail again. It's not worth it. It's not worth all that madness now. So Peter said, not long ago somebody said, would you fight John Fury? Because there's loads of people call him John Fury. I went, I'm not fighting John Fury. He said, why are you scared? I said, no, what if I beat him and Tyson comes looking for me? I said, I'm not having that. And everyone laughs. But that's the best way to answer because I'll fight you and I'll do this. And all that's gone. I'm not bothered about all that now.
It's not good. It's
like being there, seeing it done, had the t-shirt, I've got nothing to prove. 56-year-old.
Fighting's great for training. Like obviously I do K1 with Gary Bell in Stockton. I've got a lot of lads at my gym who come in.
Good for fitness, good for your mind, isn't it?
Brilliant for your mind, brilliant for stress relief as well. It's class, but it's unreal. I mean, you've got, obviously Chris Crossan, Bram.
Yeah, he's brilliant, Chris.
He's changed his path, hasn't he?
Yeah, brilliant.
He's done really good for the community.
He just brought a book out as well not long ago, so he's done well. But him and his wife, Heidi, are absolutely fantastic. We're on the phone to them a lot, and he popped the other day to see me. Prayed for me the other day because my back's been bad and everything, so they're really, really close. He looked at me like a dad type of thing. Because he had loads of nightmares in his life. But
he's changed his life around, hasn't he?
Big star.
Unapproachable, well, Bram, mate. He was unapproachable. Now he's
really, really good
man,
lad. Yeah, he is, cross.
So
the fight now, I fight pretend fight for Emma, but she always beats me.
To give you
it's too strong for me.
I've
got 3 little girls, right? My little girl, I've got Layla, who's my 6-year-old. she is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, she's like Manny Pacquiao on the pads, like, but I swear to God, unreal. This morning, I was in the shower, I got out of the shower, I'm getting ready, and she walked in, she went, bang, leg kick. This guy was like, what are you doing? Why are you kicking me? And she just loves it. She just thinks it's me walking around giving us leg kicks. And like, she said to me this morning, Lily, my 10-year-old, was like, when we go to the gym, Dad, we go boxing tomorrow.
Yeah.
And do you know what? My time with them in that ring and giving them hitting them with the pads and that, you know, like it's quality time,
and
it's
stuff what you
that.
can never. Once you've done it with them, it's there for life, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
And they're going to be the same with their kid, because
a
lot of old school when we were kids, you get hit off your mum and dad.
Yeah,
that's old hat.
Yeah,
it's gone now. But now
people talk
down.
Get yourself down.
Yeah,
we will do.
Little podcast with the iPads and that.
What I'm going to do, what I'm going to start doing, next year, I'm going to start going to different gyms. I'm going to be training, and I'm going to be telling people. Somebody will say, "You'll be doing the training." I'm saying, "Right, Glenn, pull your arm like this, tweak it like that, and do this," and showing people how to train properly, because you can't really train.
We've got all the machines there. You can come down. You can actually show them.
I know. I'll have you training with weights, but like 5-year-olds could use, but you should be training with them, because it's the way you use them. You can use you can have a 10-kilo weight, and I can make it feel like a 50-kilo weight where you tweak it. So. We'll let me might let you come.
Yeah. But no, it's good. Yeah, it's what it is, isn't it?
So what you've got to do then? What's next year? You're going to be
next year. Well, obviously, I own a training academy as well now.
Right.
I opened a training academy. So
what's
so basically, I got approached by Middlesbrough College, asked us if we were going to do security training, or if we knew a good provider. We set our own. I was like, sack that, like, got the space, get it open. So we ended up getting a brand new unit, and I got it open. So I've got 2 classrooms in there now, and we train Middlesbrough College students. So they come to us from the college, and we train them security. And we also, if they're good enough, we give them a job at the end of it.
Right.
So we get the best of the bunch, really, because we do it. And do you know what I do like? Right. So we'll get students who come in. My offices are upstairs, and obviously the classrooms and that are all downstairs. And I'll come down, and Holly will say to me, "Oh, students come in and give me a CV," and I love that. Do you know why I love it? Because they've used their own initiative, and they want work, so they're used to doing it. And that's what you want. You want people to graft, don't you?
I remember watching a program once, and this bloke said, when they come in, they say, "Impress me," and he'd sit and read the paper. And this kid got a light and set his paper alight, and they give him a job because they impressed him. So imagine, I'm not telling people to do that, but just say, he said, never happened before. He just set your paper alight and you give him a job. Interview. I think it was a bank manager's job, something like that, for a young kid to work in a bank. He said he set my paper alight, so that impressed me.
That's good. So we've got the training academy, and literally I've got a lot more contracts in the pipeline that I've been that we've been dealing with during December to start early year. So we'll be on that, and just continue growing, really.
Any last things to say to anyone or anything before we go?
Just speak out if you ever feeling down, depressed, or whatever, especially during this pandemic. I know what it's like. I've seen it firsthand. Working in this industry, you come across a lot of suicides and stuff like that. It's horrible. So don't be afraid to speak out.
100%.
Just stay healthy.
I just think of people, what it is, people say we're living in bad times, but we are living in bad times, and a lot of people have lost loved ones and colleagues and friends and things like that. But them friends and colleagues and loved ones, what you've lost, they wouldn't want you to be miserable. They'd want you to still live your life, because Jesus gave us life, and he died for us on the cross, and that's what it's all about, living. You've got to do your best and just get up every day and try and do your best. But we went through the First World War. It was extremely hard, a lot harder than what we're going through now, and we got through it. Went through a Second World War, and we got through it. So we will get through this COVID, whatever type of virus it is. We've just got to keep believing, haven't we? And I think a lot of people, what we've got to do is stick together. The health service are doing fantastic what they're doing, and our army and things like that. I think they're real heroes, and even the police are doing a fantastic job. So everyone's, I think, to beat something, if you united, you stand, divided and fall. For all the communities and people start helping each other, I think we can beat it. But you can't just sit back and just ignore it. I just got reminded there of a thing I was just going to say. So we were talking about obviously putting your trainers on and going to train, and it's your first step is the hardest. So my brother never ever had a fight in his life. He's never been in a gym, never done nothing. And literally he wanted to go kickboxing. So he went down to Gary Bell's with me.
I couldn't actually make it the first time.
Yeah.
I'd done one-to-ones with Gary, but my brother wanted to go and do a class. So I said to him, I said, I can't make it, kid, but get yourself down.
Yeah.
And do you know what he did? He went. I didn't expect him to go because it's very daunting walking into a gym if you've never been before.
Of course it is, yeah.
And he walked in, right, and he trained, done a full 12-week camp, had a fight on a show, and battered the lad and won.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. And right,
honestly,
honestly,
you can do it.
Yeah,
you know what it is? If you've got to sometimes face your fears.
Yeah.
You know, some people have been doing these training band things, and lad said to me, I haven't been out of the house for 6 years since I've been doing this. He said, I started joining the gym, and you feel great because you've helped someone. I'm not asking for money or doing anything, but it's good.
The thing is, he started getting a bit above himself, right? So
they can't
he's texting me, he's texting me.
I want to fight Tyson.
He wanted to fight me. He said to me, just randomly, this Saturday, I got a text, you're getting it tomorrow. It's like that. What? So what do you mean? So have you texted the wrong person? You're getting it, kid. Right?
Yeah.
So I was like, what do you mean? He said, we're sparring and I'm giving you it. And I thought, you cheeky little bastard. Right? Yeah. So I rang my mum. I was like, Mum, he's putting it on me. And she was like, don't hit him, son, please. She went, he's only joking. I said, he's not. He wants it. So I rang my dad. I was like, hey, Dad, what do you think of this? He was like, oh, don't, you'll kill him. Right? So I was like, right, not a bother. So next morning went down, we'd done an hour's training with Gaz.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, I said, do you want to spar then? I went, do I want to fucking spar? He said, you getting it? I thought, he's serious here. Yeah. So I went, right, not a bother. I said, I tell you what, you pick the pace and you pick the power. Yeah. I said, because obviously if I knew if I hit him, I'd hurt him. Yeah. You don't want to hurt your brother. So I stood there with him, toe to toe, and I obviously let him throw the first shot because he's picking the pace up. Oh yeah, back. Was knocking hit me right, knocked my contact lens out. So I couldn't see us like that. Looking about, I thought, shit, well, I'm gonna have to give him it here. So I gave him a bat and a head kick. Yeah. And he went to me, he said, stop, you fat fucker. He said, he said, how can you get your leg that high? Oh mate, it's absolutely class. Nah. Well, if he can get in that ring and
anyone can get there. You've just got to just will yourself to do it. Yeah, but it's been great having you on, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Pleasure. We'll have you on again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Cheers, everyone out there. Thanks very much for listening to us. We'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye now.
That was brilliant,
yeah, absolutely brilliant. That was great, mate.